Hello, everybody. I'm Declan Conway, based at the London School of Economics, and I'd like to thank the organisers for giving me this opportunity to say a few words about some of the key points relating climate change, water and land management. And in particular, what I wanted to pick up on was just some of the issues or the significance of variability for the management of water resources, and to highlight what we know with confidence about the effects of climate change in relation to rainfall and its effects on variability. So I'll kick off just with a few points about what we can say with confidence about rainfall, given that there are, of course, a lot of uncertainties in relation to the way the climate will evolve in the future. But what we can say with high confidence is that variability is going to increase, and that variability is across a range of timescales, from daily rainfall through to seasonal, through to even multi-year characteristics of rainfall. For example, prolonged droughts that could occur in the future. In addition to variability, we also expect to see much higher rainfall intensities. Those higher rainfall intensities will have effects on the frequency and intensity of flash flood events. They may affect erosion rates, and they will, of course, affect recharge into groundwater. And it may well be the case that even in areas where we see decreases in overall rainfall, we may get higher rates of flash floods because when it does rain, we get higher runoff due to the higher intensities. And then, in addition to rainfall characteristics, then of course, as global warming continues, we expect to see impacts on evaporation rates. Now, on balance, evaporation is likely to increase. That's going to have implications for open water surfaces and for bare soil surfaces, where we will see perhaps reduced water availability and lower soil moisture levels. So we've got the joint effects of higher rainfall variability coupled with potentially higher rates of evaporation. Now, thinking about some of the hydrological consequences of this, then of course with the catchment scale, land management is a very important part of the adaptation story and plays an important role in mediating the effects of climate change. So we know that vegetation is very important for hydrological pathways within the catchment. Vegetation cover also has important implications for evapotranspiration. Different types of vegetation evapotranspire at different rates, and climate change is going to affect evapotranspiration rates. And then, of course, decisions about land use will affect demand for water through their effects on different crops having different rates of evapotranspiration, but also potentially decisions to plant crops that require irrigation will increase demand for water with potentially downstream consequences. And then, of course, climate change can have direct and indirect effects on the land cover characteristics themselves. So we will see a natural evolution of catchment vegetation characteristics as temperature and rainfall change in the future. We also may see indirect effects of climate change through things like decisions on policies, for example, generating more demand for biofuel crops, leading to a change in crop types within catchment areas. So land management is going to be a critical part of the whole story around climate change impacts and adaptation. And then thirdly, I'm just going to show a couple of examples which are to really highlight the importance of looking at the sensitivity of current systems to climate variability and the important socioeconomic impacts that arise from climate extreme events, given that climate change is going to bring an increase in the frequency, intensity of those events in the future. And to do that very briefly then, we've got a couple of examples from work we've done recently looking at the 2015-2016 El Nino event and its hydrological impacts that led to very significant urban disruption in 3 African capital cities. So in East Africa, there were consequences of extreme rainfall for flooding in Nairobi that led to very important disruption to urban activities. In Botswana, there was, through a multi-year drought, so it had been dry prior to the El Nino event, major disruption to public water supply, with parallels to the events that occurred in Cape Town around about the same time. And then thirdly, very important implications of drought in the Zambezi Basin, leading to low water levels in the Lake Kariba reservoir that led to massive disruption to electricity supply from Kariba, that led to electricity outages in Lusaka. So all three examples, we're seeing high sensitivities of systems to, urban systems to fluctuations in rainfall. In addition to the fluctuations in rainfall, the effects of climate, we also see important roles from the management or the governance of the systems. So, for example, flooding in Nairobi is highly tied in with the land management in urban areas, the presence of urban drainage, the management of urban drains where they are there have very significant effect in exacerbating heavy rainfall events. In Lusaka, there were important implications of changes in the turbines in Lake Kariba and the agreements between Zambia and Zimbabwe about releases from Kariba. And in Gaborone, as I mentioned, there was a multi-year drought. So early warning of the public water supply disruption was there, but issues about the timely implementation of new water storage infrastructure was important there. So these are just three very quick examples of the kinds of important disruption that can be produced by climate anomalies coupled with governance challenges, and climate change is very likely to exacerbate those issues in the future because of changes in the variability of rainfall. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy your discussion. Thank you. Bye-bye.